Welcome to Milltown Lawyers.
Welcome to another episode of Milltown Lawyers. I'm James R. Dutton here with my mother and law partner, Debbie Dutton. Together we run Dutton & Dutton Law Firm here in Griffin, Georgia, where we fight for justice with integrity and look at you not as a paycheck, but as a person. And we do a lot of different types of law, estate planning, bankruptcy, criminal defense, small business law,
adoption, personal injury,
all kinds of stuff. But
probate.
Today we're focusing in on end-of-life preparations, as the title suggests. On a previous episode, we talked a lot about wills and sort of those end-of-life things that you want to have long before your life ends, so that your children aren't left holding the bag of, okay, what did mom want us to do? What are we supposed to do with the house? What are we supposed to do with these deeds? But today we're going to focus in a little bit more on the end-of-life directives, so the power of attorney and the advanced healthcare directives. And Debbie here, my wonderful mother, who I'm very biased towards my mom. I just think she's the best. But she's the expert. So tell us about these a power of attorney. Do you want a healthcare power of attorney? Do you want a holistic power of attorney? Tell us what the difference is. What are we
So in Georgia, there are two different ones. There is a power of attorney that, let's just take me. If I am incapacitated, if I am in a coma or on a ventilator or on vacation in a foreign country, and something happens here at home, I need someone that can step in, stand in my shoes, and be me. You know, anything you can do, I can do better. So
now that's automatically your spouse, if your spouse is still alive, or do you need a specific?
Most of the time.
Okay.
So in all of my years of doing this, I've only had one instant where another neighboring county required a spouse of 50 years with 10 children to become guardian of his wife who had had a massive stroke. That was highly unusual.
Mm-hmm. That's weird.
You remember that case?
I think I do. Yeah, 10 kids, right? It was a whole slew of, and it was grandkids.
It's your father-in-law.
Yeah.
It was. And so luckily he knew an attorney that didn't charge him an arm and a leg, because the paperwork for guardianship was 47 pages long.
Right.
So that's the only time we have ever had, that I am aware of, anyone require a husband to become guardian of their wife.
Right.
And most of the time you are correct. A husband can speak for the wife can speak for the husband. It's when that is not a situation. I don't have a husband, so I need to assign someone that can speak on my behalf if I can't for one reason or another. And so the power of attorney, Georgia changed it in 2017. It is new. And it gives you the authority to speak on my behalf, at my bank. If I had a mortgage, with the tax office, with the tag office, if I owed for a car, any of my creditors with Social Security to do my tax returns, any of that type of thing.
And they're all going to want to see this in writing, signed off on. And
yes. And so the power of attorney normally has an agent and then an alternate agent. So if you're my agent, if you can't because you're out of the country, then maybe your sister would speak on my behalf and be able to go to the bank and do things. I just had to go to the bank. I just had to deal with something that got mixed up. And, you know, if I had been out of the country, then I would have needed someone that could have stepped in and said, wait a minute, let's do this.
Right.
So a power of attorney is important. I always tell my clients, when I do a power of attorney, I need you to take it into your bank and make sure they will accept it. Now that sounds silly. However, a lot of credit unions create their own power of attorney.
Delta Employee Credit Union specifically has one.
Specifically has their own. You don't know till you know.
Right.
And so they will not accept the Georgia power of attorney, and they require you to fill out their power of attorney.
Wow.
So, I had a client that was a retired Delta employee, and he had done a power of attorney, a healthcare directive, a will. We had changed the deed. We thought we had him locked up tight. And he gets into a nursing home. His son needs to deal with something. And Delta said, nope.
We have our own form.
That's right. And
Wow.
now he's got dementia written on his medical forms, and Delta won't take a new power of attorney. So it put this gentleman kind of in a hard place for a minute. And so, you don't know till you know. And that was years ago. And now we know that your credit union may not take the state approved power of attorney. So we always tell you to check with your bank and make sure. And some people even put it on record with the bank. They'll say, here, take a copy
I've got
of
one.
this.
Here it is.
Yes. So power of attorneys, I feel are necessary because I had a brother that had COVID, was in the hospital for 33 days. And somebody had to pay the light bill. Somebody had to, take care of his business. And a power of attorney was what enabled that. Had another client that went to London on vacation. COVID happened. She ended up in London 2 years
Wow.
before she could get back home. And she didn't have a power of attorney. And I was trying to help her deal with all of her things here. Had she had a power of attorney, her sister could have just stepped in and taken care of everything for her. Crazy, bizarre things, I know. But I mean, COVID was crazy and bizarre. So who knows what's going to go on in the future. So a power of attorney is a simple form. You list an agent, you list an alternate agent if that agent can't. And then you can specifically check off what you're giving them power to do. Maybe I just want them to have power over my checking account and not my business. Maybe I need you to run my business and not my checking account. So the power of attorney is for that purpose.
We had a situation that we helped a friend out this year. Her mother-in-law died, and the city immediately just turned off her power. So they go over to clean up the house, and there's no water and no power. And then they go, well, here, let's pay this month's bill. And the city goes, it's not in your name. We're not turning the power on. Well, I need the water to clean the house to put it on the market. And they go, yep. And so because they didn't have a power of attorney, it turned into a huge issue. Had they had that, they could have walked in.
Incorrect.
Oh, no?
Power of attorney is a living document.
Okay.
It dies the minute that you die.
So that would be the executor's then responsibility.
Then the executor's responsibility is then to take over that sort of thing. So the power of attorney is a living document. It dies when you die. Now, in Georgia, they do not allow anything medical to be included in that power of attorney. And I think their thinking on this is that if you're in charge of all my money,
right,
and you're in charge of whether or not
no, go ahead and pull the plug. She said she would want you to pull the plug.
There you go.
Yeah.
They don't want you to say, hey, we're pulling that plug because I'm ready to go over to the bank.
Misaligned a sentence.
That's right.
Okay.
So, and you come up with these regulations because somewhere along the line this happened. Someone did this. So, you want to have the healthcare directive separate from the power of attorney. But I do think a power of attorney is important. My sister had to get one for her son. I had one for your brother when he was in Brazil. Mm-hmm. I had a power of attorney for him because I had to take care of some business when there was a car accident involved and he was out of the country.
And it could be for that limited time. Hey, he's going to be in Brazil from this year to this year. And at the end of that, this automatically goes away. It expires.
You revoke it. You revoke that power of attorney when you're ready for that to end. So I do think a power of attorney is important. It's about a 3-page document. It's something that I think everyone should have. With a power of attorney, you can go in with a copy of that power of attorney and do what you need to do. You don't have to have the original. A will is a different story. A will, you have to have that original will. You can probate with a copy of the will, but then it becomes...
There's a whole other procedure.
There's more forms and more fees.
So we've spoken a bit about the power of attorneys, but you also mentioned advanced healthcare directives, this sort of healthcare power of attorney. Let's talk about the differences between the two and when you need one and not the other, or one over the other.
Okay, so I do think everyone needs a power of attorney because we don't know what's going to go on with us in the future. But it covers everything that you want it to cover other than health. So an advanced healthcare directive is another Georgia form that the Georgia has come up with, and it tells what my plans are. And it says things like when I want it to come into play. So you have two options. Do I want it to come in play when I have been diagnosed with a terminal, incurable disease and am not going to get any better? Or do I want it to come into play when I'm unconscious, in a coma? And I say
So
that it should.
It's not just when to pull the plug, but like what to do.
Yeah, when it comes into play.
Okay.
So I had a client that was in stage 4 cancer. That is terminal. That is incurable. He was going to die from that. But he still had all of his faculties, and he didn't want anyone making those decisions for him. And I agree. I don't want anyone making those decisions for me. So for me, the box you check there is only when I can't make the decisions for myself,
right,
or when I say, you decide. But then it goes on down, and it's very involved. It's about a 7 or 8 page form. And then it says, what do we want to do? Do we want to keep mom alive for as long as possible, hooked up to everything possible, and just rotate her every 30 minutes? Or do we just want to let nature take its course and mom die a natural death? Now, for me, that's the choice. I'm sorry, but I just don't want to be plugged into anything. Now, this doesn't stop from if I collapse today, I have asthma, and I needed to be put on a ventilator for 24 hours, great. Or if I decide to run this 5K that our library is doing and I collapse, by all means, give me a good jolt. But it doesn't, I stop breathing, give me CPR. But it prevents them from then hooking me up to something that long term. Now,
but that's all decided in the document itself.
So
it's not just a one-side
document. It is my wishes.
Okay.
It talks about other things also. It talks about, donating organs, doing an autopsy. It talks about needing a guardian. It talks about multiple things like that. But with the, hey, let nature take its course, there is an exception in there that I opted for. Give me pain meds. I do not want to be in pain. So by all means, give me an IV with a morphine pump,
Does it also have the options for your religious tenets? Hey, I can't get a blood transfusion, or I can't I have to use human tissue and not animal tissue.
So it does not have that in the state one. If that is a preference, then you would want that caveat listed somewhere, and you would just tell your attorney. Your attorney could figure out how to put that wording in there.
So we can put that in. That doesn't come on the form standard, but that is something we can put in. Okay.
So then it also says when this takes effect. And for most people, it takes effect upon signature when that event occurs that I can't take care of myself. And then when does it end? It ends not upon my death, but upon the disposition of my body. Okay. So I take care of.
That's an interesting distinction there.
Yes. So I take care of a dear friend. She's 88. And I had to take and put my advanced healthcare directive on file with the funeral home. Okay. So the funeral home had to have it on file for me to have the authority to say, when she passes, this funeral home gets her body and she's to be cremated, and this is what you are to do. Okay.
That's interesting.
So the funeral home had to have a copy of my healthcare directive because I'm not family. She doesn't have any family. So they had to have some type of authority to give to me to be able to say what happens to her body. And she's now in a nursing home. I had to put my power of attorney on file with the nursing home and the advanced healthcare directive on file with the nursing home so that I do have this authority to say what happens. Now, she does have an alternate agent on the healthcare directive and on the power of attorney. And so we made the nursing home aware of the fact that if I'm not available, she is available. She can then speak on my behalf.
Both of these documents, the power of attorney and the advanced healthcare directive, are these editable, changeable? If I get mad at my son and want to put my daughter instead,
they're not really editable, but you can revoke either one and then
just
do
create
a new one. That's
okay.
right. And so I keep all of my documents in a Word document. And so it's not that big of a deal for me to change it. So I don't charge the full fee to do that. I will tell you that since COVID, some doctors have their own advanced healthcare directive in the office.
Just like the banks with a power of attorney.
That's right. And so you can ask your doctor, do you have a healthcare directive? And you can fill it out in the doctor's office. Some hospitals have that as well. And so you may not need an attorney to do that.
Well, I would think that just like getting your will done by LegalZoom or maybe I shouldn't say that, by an online source, Googling how to do my own will is probably not going to be as exact as getting an actual lawyer that not only has the training, but also has the malpractice insurance to sue in case something goes wrong. You can't sue your Google search if you did it wrong. I just can't imagine that not being a better choice.
So maybe yes, maybe not. But when you get down to the funeral preparations, if you're not husband and wife, you could run into some problems there. So any document that you have, you want to run it past your doctor, your hospital, the funeral home. And I advocate for everyone to plan their funeral, pay for their funeral.
In advance.
In advance. Have it all written out so that you don't leave your family grieving and trying to deal with that at the same time. But I'll tell you another situation with an advanced healthcare directive. Believe it or not, this also happened to your father-in-law. We did all of his documents, and then he was diagnosed with early onset dementia. He still had all of his faculties at the time, but he had a cataract on his eye and needed the cataract surgery. And so his daughter took him up for the cataract surgery, and someone has to sign giving the authority for the surgeon to do the surgery. They pull his medical records. It says he has early onset dementia, even though it should have been very clear to the medical profession that he could have signed for himself, but they would not allow it.
But legal CYA means...
That's right. You got to have this healthcare directive. Luckily, he had come to me. We had it. Had he not had that healthcare directive, they would never have done the eye surgery.
Wow.
And he would have eventually gone blind.
Wow.
So, sometimes we think about end of life, but maybe not.
Right.
We don't know when we're going to be diagnosed with something. And so these are documents that if you're still confused after hearing me jabber about it, maybe you want to contact our law firm or contact another attorney and say, do I need a will? Do I need to change my deed? Do I need a power of attorney? Do I need a healthcare directive? When you do all of the things at one time, we give you a big discount. And, and I just think that you've got to prepare for this so that things go smoothly.
I can't put it better. Flying over the Grand Canyon and looking down is one thing, but being there in person is so much better. It's the same thing here. A 20-minute overview of, hey, here's all the issues going on. It is not near as important as actually coming into the office and getting this done face to face. So again, thank you for listening to this episode of Milltown Lawyers. Again, I'm James Dutton. This is my wonderful mother, Debbie Dutton. You can contact us at duttonlawga.com. Please don't leave this kind of stuff for your heirs. Don't let a happy family tear itself apart fighting over this stuff when these questions should be answered ahead of time so that not only the burden's off their shoulders, but they don't have to fight over what those answers are. They know what mom wanted. They know what dad wanted. And all those questions are wrapped up neatly with a bow. Thank you again for liking and subscribing our videos. We'll see you on our next episode.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.